begin with the hybrid statement. This meeting of the WSESD will come to order. We are at Guilford Central School. Thank you very much, Guilford. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, which means that some or all of the public bodies meeting remotely and some are meeting physically in a previously noticed location, where the public may attend to observe, listen, and participate contemporaneously. Please note that while we will strive to provide means for those attending remotely to participate in the public comment period, there may be technical difficulties or reasons that otherwise prevent or interrupt remote public participation. If anyone has a problem connecting, please email one of us or text us in the group, and we will do our very best to reconnect you. Regardless, the meeting will continue. I am going to hold off on going through the consent agenda and amendments to the current agenda, and there are several, so that we can go immediately into the executive session, which is why we are beginning at 5:15. Is there a motion to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Is there a motion to enter into executive session under 1 V.S.A. 313A7, the academic records or suspension or discipline of students?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are going into executive session and we are inviting in Superintendent Mark Spino. We are inviting in Whitney Line, and we are inviting in every principal seated here right now. And I'm sorry, Tate Erickson as well. Thank you. Okay, we are going into executive session at this point.
Are we moving?
We are going, well, yeah, I think we are. We're going into the library next door. We are, yes. And that way, because people will be coming in, so I wouldn't know where to put them. I began the meeting at 5:15. We went into an executive session. So the hybrid statement was already read, and I'm just going to start going through the agenda. Regarding the consent agenda, we have an understanding that we pass it with one motion. I would like to make an amendment to the minutes of March 25. On page 2, it says that the WSESU welcomes Tim Maciel. It should instead read, it welcomes Kim Price to the WSESU. Yeah, okay. And I would like to add to the agenda an update from the group who are considering board goals as of our prior meeting. So I want to get that on the agenda. And I also want to lighten the agenda in consideration of unexpected developments that occurred this weekend, and that have to do with, for want of a better word, a directive from the Secretary of Education, Zoe Sanders, and the Agency of Education, that superintendents certify compliance with regard to Title VI, having to do with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs receiving federal financial assistance. The twist this year is new language has been added to Title VI that seemingly negates an ongoing commitment to social justice, as well as negates current initiatives associated with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that was a pretty hard hit this weekend, and it mobilized, I think, the entire state. So what I would like to do with board consent, taking a look at today's agenda, because I do want to make time for this discussion, I would like to move under board matters, letter D, where we are considering education quality standards and district quality standards. I would like that to move to a subsequent meeting. In addition, we need to add an executive session at the end of the evening. We have one already scheduled. We need another one. And it will be 1 V.S.A. 313A7, academic records or suspension or discipline of students. So on the current agenda, I do want to place consideration of Title VI developments. So I'd like that on the agenda. Okay, and I'm just looking down my list to see, and I'll call on you in 1 minute if there's anything else. I think that's it. Tim?
Yeah, I think that's a good move. My request, because educational quality standards are really important for goal setting and everything else, I may ask that it be put on the next meeting's agenda.
Sure, absolutely, yes, okay. I did send around the notice from the V.S.A. that the AOE is a little slow in responding to that program and just what's involved with it. So despite frequent nudges from the Vermont School Board Association. But yes, absolutely, I do realize that's a July 1st deadline. As we move forward, I'd like to just begin with a review of board norms.
Sure.
Kim?
Yes, and thank you for everybody that's joined us on Zoom today. We have a lot of people out there. So just a quick reminder of the WSESD board meeting norms. Please use sensitivity when discussing school matters. Engage in respectful and non-judgmental listening. Assume positive intentions. Be accountable for impact. Board discussions should include all voices equally. Be mindful of each other's time. And we have a shared responsibility.
Okay, thank you. All right. I have a feeling that as we move to student matters and as we move to public comment on non-agenda items, and even though discussion of Title VI is now on the agenda, it is not officially on the agenda as posted. So it is subject for public comment on non-agenda items. Let's be mindful of how we speak, and let's be mindful of the amount of time. There are a lot of people online, and I definitely want to hold people to less than 2 minutes, okay, as we move through. And I will try and call on people in order, both in terms of hands that are raised online and individuals who are present right here. So, student matters. We're going to begin with student matters. So if there are students who wish to speak, by all means you may at this time. And if certainly you are free to speak during public comment on non-agenda items. I don't see any student hands up. So I am going to move to public comment on non-agenda items. No, that's right. Yeah. So just an opening statement about public comment. This is a time for the board to listen and to take notes. It is not time for the board to respond to comments or to engage in dialogue with the public. If appropriate, the board and administration will take next steps moving forward. So public comment on non-agenda items. Sean Murphy has his hand up. So, so please unmute yourself and I think start your video if possible.
He can't start
Oh, he
his video.
cannot start his video. Okay, got it.
Am I unmuted?
You are
You are
unmuted at
unmuted,
this
Sean.
point. Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to read something that I wrote. Zoe Saunders, Vermont Education Secretary, made a rookie mistake on Friday, April 4th. She indicated that districts in Vermont comply with a Republican-led Congress mandate to eliminate the use of DEI. Education in Vermont is major league. Diversity, equity, inclusion means that there is a recognition of personal differences that will be met equally, that includes all of these personal differences in a system created to achieve integration of those differences in the outcome of student success. The antithesis of DEI would be that there would be no personal differences that require understanding and resources. It would imply that education can be achieved regardless of personal differences, and that not recognizing differences in learning styles can lead to student success. Educators know that a system that disregards students' differences will not lead to a success. This is why the word inclusion is used. The practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized. Superintendent Mark Spino quickly and correctly pointed this out in a letter released on Monday, and that is quoted in today's Reformer. Diversity, equity, inclusion is a tenet of this district. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a Vermont value to meet all students where they are in real time and place. It is a system that leads to a success of the student population. Diversity, equity, inclusion. End of story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you. Other comment? Yes. Would you state your name and your town of residence, please?
Of course. My name is Ahmad Esfahani. I live in Greenfield, Massachusetts, but my children attend school in Putney, Vermont.
Okay, we have a motor behind us, so if you could really project
Okay.
out.
Sorry.
It's
Want me
hard to
speed
hear
up
it
or-
behind
Yeah,
us.
you
That'd be great.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry, yes.
That's okay.
So yes, I live in Greenfield, Massachusetts, but my children go to school in Putney, Vermont. Can I read?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
I'm here tonight not out of politics, but out of concern for the health of the learning environment we're creating for our children. DEI, as it's practiced today, is not neutral. It's not a simple kindness, and it's not universally a shared moral compass. It's an ideology that, like all ideologies, has blind spots, enforcers, and unintended consequences. And because of that, I believe it should be immediately removed from all Vermont schools. At its worst, DEI creates a breeding ground not for justice, but for opportunism. It rewards those most willing to speak the language of grievance and performance. As someone who's worked in both state and municipal government, I've seen firsthand how easily systems like this can be exploited. Not by one group or another, but by self-serving individuals from all demographics. Every community has its narcissists, every identity group has its opportunists. DEI gives these individuals a script and a platform. This is not how we teach kids resilience. It's not how we build character. It's how we create bureaucracy, gatekeeping, and mistrust. When we teach children in their position that their position in the world is pre-written by their identity, or that someone else's success comes at their expense, we are sowing the seeds of division and resentment. The EI doesn't level the playing field, it calcifies it. It keeps us talking about categories instead of character and feelings instead of outcomes. We need to be honest about what this approach is doing. It doesn't just distract from academics, it introduces a soft hierarchy, a kind of moral economy that teaches kids how to signal the right things instead of strive for the real ones. I want my children to be treated fairly, not specially, and I want all children from every background to learn how to build something together that is stronger than the sum of their differences. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Yes.
Question for the chair.
Can you state your
Yes.
name and town, please?
Andrew Morrison, Dummerston, Vermont.
Yes.
A question for you. Would you like comments on this now, or would you prefer that they be raised during the agenda item that you've set aside for this?
Good question. Good question. We can certainly wait until the agenda item. Yeah, okay, good. All right, thank you. All right, public comment on non-agenda items. Okay, Ann Schroeder, I see your hand up. Can you?
Okay, I tried to, hi, I tried to do my
Can you
video.
state your name and your town of residence, please?
I thought you wanted me to do my video, but it wouldn't let me. So anyhow, that's fine. I'm an older person. I don't need to be in, I'm Ann Schroeder. I live in Dummerston. And I originally, I was pretty upset about what Zoe Saunders did. And I know she backtracked and she said that she would send one single letter. And this, of course, makes it a little better for our supervisory union. You don't have to go against your values, but in the long run, you are, because this letter will be for the whole state. And so we don't want her to send in a single statewide certification. I mean, we want a strong statement in support of educational justice and equity in the state, and not going back and listening to Trump and banning DEI. And I do not have children in the schools, but I have heard of some pretty bad racial harassment in our schools. And I'm sorry, I just can't live with this without trying to do something. I have contacted the governor and the attorney general and the Office of Education. And I just think this is going in the wrong direction. And why can't we be strong like Maine, Massachusetts, and New York and just totally refuse this? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we are actively discussing this issue at this point. So I'm, with board permission, I'm moving that we talk about the implications of Title VI and not wait as we're moving down board matters, that we move it up. We're in it right now. Okay. Sorry for that confusion. So the implications of Title VI. I'm going to move out of public comment on non-agenda items at this point. Yes.
I'm Jim Oliver. I'm from Putney. I'm concerned about a number of different things. One of the things that I'm concerned about in the context of a certification apparently being planned by the governor and the attorney general and the secretary of education that will cover everyone, is that I don't feel that the governor in his statement, which I hope you've seen, indicates that he understands what's going, what the implications are. He says very strongly that the current law on this subject allows everything that is currently being done in this way in the schools. But when you read the certification form that was sent by the U.S. Department of Education, it cites a completely different interpretation of Title VI from what has been standard. And it cites at length the Supreme Court decision in the Harvard case, which has to do with admissions of college students, and attempts to say that that controls this situation. It does not. So the governor has a basic level of misunderstanding about where things stand. And in that context, it makes me uncomfortable with simply saying, well, the governor, with the other two people involved, can just decide this for all of us. Because I don't think he gets it.
Thank you. I am also confused by the messages that have come forward this weekend, Monday. I'm not quite sure what the agreement is having to do with Title VI at this point. And I think that needs to be clarified. Yes, sir. Your name
Andrew
and-
Morrison, Dummerston, Vermont.
Yes.
So my concern, to the extent that I've tried to educate myself, is not so different from the one that Jim just expressed, which is that the certification, if Vermont were to comply with it, may in some way represent an agreement to the way that Title VI is being represented in that certification itself. And so given that interpretation of events, it would be my express interest that Vermont not move forward with certification at this time.
Thank you. Yes.
Anna Oliver, Putney. I do have kids at Putney Central currently. I wanted to read from the frequently asked questions that came with this Title VI certification document. It says, question 8, are diversity, equity, and inclusion programs unlawful under SFFA? Answer, schools may not discriminate on the basis of race, color, or national origin in their programs or activities. Many schools have advanced discriminatory policies and practices under the banner of DEI initiatives. Other schools have sought to veil discriminatory policies with terms like social emotional learning or culturally responsive teaching. OCR's assessment of school policies and programs depends on the facts and circumstances of each case. What this means to me is that they are requesting that the state agree to not do anything that they consider DEI, and they are not really defining at any point what that means, except to say that it could be a huge range of things, including social emotional learning. And I fear that one, that means that they can decide at any point that it means whatever they want it to mean. And two, that this creates the perfect situation for teachers and schools to self-censor. That if you don't know where the line is, you will step back and back and back from these kinds of learning that I think are really essential to kids.
Thank you. Tim, Ms. Young.
Yeah, I have a statement to read, and I hope Sean is listening because it echoes a lot of what Sean was saying. So as a school board, I believe we all care.
Could you speak up a little bit? Could you?
I'll try, but.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Or maybe if you stand, it will project out a bit. It's this,
Okay.
right, yeah.
to Mayfield, Brattleboro. As a school board, we all care deeply about the learning environments we create for our children. Like previous speakers, I believe we all want schools to be places where all students are treated fairly, grow in character, and are prepared to go out into society and engage in a society that is diverse in many ways. I believe that DEI, when done thoughtfully and with integrity, moves us closer to our vision, not further away from it. DEI, in my mind, isn't about grievance, it's about fairness. It's not a rigid ideology, it's a framework for identifying and addressing barriers to student success. I know personally that not all students begin their educational journey from the same starting line. Some face language barriers, trauma, systemic bias, the lack of access to resources, and physical and mental challenges. Equity means recognizing these differences and providing what's needed so that every student has a real chance to succeed. It's not about special treatment, it's about basic fairness. One of our district's four main goals for this year is to increase the sense of belonging. We build character in children when we help them see themselves and others as valuable members of our schools. When a student feels seen, heard, and understood, they're more likely to take risks, work harder, engage in their classes, and contribute to their school community. Far from distracting from academics, a mountain of educational research shows that inclusive environments lead to better outcomes for all students across race, income, and learning style. Now, any system can be abused and misused, and that includes DEI. And that's why our DEI programs require oversight and transparency, which we do strive for, which we strive to provide in a commitment through our social justice and anti-racism pledge, which we'll discuss later, I hope. I don't believe we create division. I do not believe we create division by talking about race, ability, or identity. We create division when we pretend these things don't matter. Teaching students to understand difference doesn't teach them to resent, it teaches them to relate. That's how we prepare them for the real world, a world where they will work with, live among, and depend on people who are not like them. I believe that DEI done well is about building character informed by compassion. And my God, do we need more compassion. DEI invites us to build something stronger together by learning how to honor difference while working towards shared goals. We should hold our schools and DEI work to a higher standard, not abandon it, but to embrace it as an essential element of our mission. And my feeling, and this is why I agree with those who state that I was disappointed that Vermont did not join Massachusetts, Maine, and New York in simply declining to sign the certification. Nevertheless, it was an opportunity for Secretary Sanders and others to really state why DEI is so important. But yeah, I agree with with the previous speaker that that was a real disappointment to me that our state just didn't say no. No to a president who, by the way, has said that he's even gone so far and said that race is not a social construct. That's his level of understanding of what diversity is. I can go on and on. I'll go on and on about the president, but I just think that it's a disappointment that we just didn't say no to this request.
Thank you. Thank you. There, I see hands raised on screen. Curtis Reed, would you state your name and your town, please?
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So my name is Curtis Jr. I'm a resident of Brattleboro, father of 3 children that went through the Brattleboro schools. What I want to bring the attention to the board is that Act 129 of 2012, the legislature passed the Hazing, Harassment, and Bullying Advisory Council. There were mandated number of organizations, School Board Association, Principals Association, Vermont NEA, and a couple of others that were mandated, and with the discretionary power of the secretary to appoint additional members. Now, for over a decade, over the course of the tenure of 3 secretaries of education, those secretaries have found it necessary to bring on to the advisory council Black and brown voices. And at one point, there was an African American who actually chaired this committee. Well, last month, the secretary reactivated the council, the advisory council, and intentionally chose not to bring in diverse voices on to sit around the table. What I would very much like would be for the board to express its displeasure with the secretary deciding to eliminate the voices of Black and brown Vermonters, to ask her to include us in that very important body that determines policy and how policy is and practices are implemented around hazing, harassment, and bullying. So I just want to bring that to your attention with the hope that you will petition the secretary to add additional voices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have several messages that we would like to send to Zoe Sanders at this point. Thank you. Matt Shibley.
Yeah, thank you. Matt Shibley, Brattleboro. I would just like to note formally, as I've been paying attention to this situation and the responses from each district, I want to say thank you to Superintendent Spino for his remarks. When I look at the other districts' superintendents and their lackluster response to the situation, I am proud yet again of Windham Southeast and work, Mark, that you're doing. I hope that you continue to do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I'm okay. Tim Messiel.
I would just like to support what the previous speaker said, that I would like the board to endorse, to send Secretary Saunders a message saying that committee needs a diverse voice.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Michelle Green, I see your hand up on screen. Can you unmute yourself and your name and your town?
Have things disabled. Michelle Green from Dummerston. Hi guys, big heavy week this week, and I just first want to say I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me? I'm on Bluetooth. Is it coming okay?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you. I'm not sure if everyone you can hear. Good, thank you.
If I can turn that off, it might be better. I just first of all, the very first thing I want to say is how grateful I am to be in a community where I had the reassurance of I didn't feel the need to write my superintendent and my school board members. I knew that you guys are already invested, and having been part of statewide coalitions working on grassroots movements, it's really clear that that's not everyone's situation. And so I'm really grateful for all of you right now and your dedication to this topic. I wanted to share, I just spent 15 minutes talking with the governor's office, 15 whole minutes. I am deeply alarmed at this point. I appreciate that it sort of seems like there was a little bit of leeway in the decision to not have our superintendent sign off on this certification. However, signing off on our behalf is not what was asked for, and it's not appropriate, and it's not acceptable. Anna has sort of dove into the fact sheet that was shared, and if you, Zoe Saunders actually quoted that sheet where it was a line that said, words like diversity within themselves are not a violation. Well, if you keep reading down, it talks about what could be a violation, such as the potential to shame or create intrinsic guilt in students for what their ancestors did. So I perceive that as we're teaching our American history. We're talking about slavery or the colonization of the USA. And the governor's office felt very clear working with our attorney general. They reaffirmed that they're committed to diversity and they don't feel that we're held to, even though those examples were in there, that we're not held to those, this new criteria. So I shifted the conversation though, and my issue is really right now how inappropriate it is that we have collective one voice from NEA, V.S.A, our School Board Association, Principal Association, and our Superintendent Association. They have stood together. These are our educational leaders of the state. They are the experts that we are working with and are overseeing our schools. The Secretary of Education's role is to advocate for our schools. The idea that the Secretary of Education and Governor would be so dismissive of our leadership in education is really terrifying and inappropriate. My feedback was, if they're so confident, then the appropriate next step would be to be transparent and for Zoe Saunders and our Attorney General and the Governor and these leaders to come together and collectively find a consensus, and from there produce a joint statement for Vermont. But that essentially dismissing the feedback from the people doing the work, the people overseeing our schools, it doesn't feel safe, it feels dismissive, and considering all of the other legislation that he's suggesting in our schools is really, there's just no confidence there. So unlike Tim, who was sort of saying this is a bummer, I don't feel that the fight is over. We still have a little bit of time. I was assured she hadn't signed off on this certification yet. I'm going to urge our board there is an organizational letter that is in place. I would urge you to sign your names to it. We see state reps on it. I meant to share it with you guys earlier, but I know it's on the SU agenda for tomorrow. The list is growing. That includes significant organizations. And I think that at this point, advocacy really looks like demanding that our Secretary of Education work with our educational leaders, and that until we have a consensus, and so that because this is who Vermonters trust. We trust the people doing the work. We trust the people running our schools. And if they are being defied, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel safe. And it's going to create a lot of problems. There is statewide movement. There's the potential to see strikes and walkouts going on. So I want you guys to feel supported, to be loud. I know your hands are tied for a minute. You can't have conversations outside of meetings. That makes it really tricky to collaborate and figure out what you as a board can do. So I just really want to empower you to make some noise, be firm, sign your names to it, and rally with other districts in the expectation that our Secretary of Education would respect the professional expertise provided to her through these different organizations that she met with, which apparently she walked out early. I think that's what I'm sharing for now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Michelle Green. Thank you. Was that an echo? No, not anymore.
It was
All right.
muting.
Okay, thanks. Andy.
Yes, I did want to tell everyone that the letter that Michelle mentioned, which is called an open letter to the Vermont Agency of Education upholding our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, is on the SU agenda for tomorrow. None of it hit until Friday, and it was not able to be put on the SD agenda for this evening, but we did have a chance to put it on the SU agenda for tomorrow night, so it will be there for discussion. I'd also like to tell everybody out in Zoom land, yes, you do have to get permission to unmute because of our Zoom bomber problem.
Yes,
So I apologize for that.
we've had one meeting after another that has been a bit distressing.
That's also why you can't start your camera.
In support of what Ann Beekman just said, this discussion this evening, because it was not fully warned, everything happened so quickly, and the agenda was already posted by Friday for this meeting. It had to be posted. This is not actionable this evening. It is actionable at a subsequent meeting, and it is up to the board how quickly we act. We do not have to wait 2 weeks, but it is the will of this board, and we'll see how it progresses. We are in the midst of this discussion. Other comment on this discussion? Brian Reamer.
Thank you. I'm Brian Reamer from Guilford. As I listen to what folks have said today, as I read some of the things in anticipation of this meeting and to pay attention to what I hear in the news, it strikes me that the words and the terms DEI and diversity, equity, inclusion are used a lot, but not very well defined and not necessarily agreed upon what that means. And I think what would be helpful for us is if we have the opportunity to learn firsthand what some of the things are that we're teaching our children in various grade levels, some samples, so that we could see what is being taught and what effect does that have, why it's being taught, and so forth. I think I'm not saying this to be critical of what is being taught. I'm just saying that that might present a better atmosphere for dialogue, more knowledge about why these classes are taught or why these ideas are shared and taught to our students, why we as a board might feel that they're important, why we as a community might want to embrace them further. And it might shed information and light to people who we are depending upon to make or help us make some decisions, such as the governor, such as the Secretary of Education, and so forth. So I just want to put that out there, that it might be something that we want to arrange at some time in some format to hear what some of these classes are like, and even hear from students what they are getting out of it and how they see it being helpful for them.
Mm-hmm. I would like to reiterate what someone said a few minutes ago, and that is both the governor and the Secretary of Education, Zoe Sanders, they should be well informed about what is going on in terms of curriculum in this state. And I find it astonishing that perhaps they are not well informed and they are not providing suitable oversight for the various districts in the state. That's a perhaps. I see a hand in the back of the room. Your name and your town, please.
My name is Lorraine Payne. I sometimes go by Rainey, and I have to admit that I work as a sub-nurse in all of the districts. And thank you, Mark and Tam and Brian. Your statement allowed me to share what I had come to share. And what I have found is that going into the various schools, I see the effort throughout all of the schools of what diversity, equity, and what it offers. And it brings students together, it brings the staff together. It opens doors to everyone who walks through those doors feeling welcome. And I don't know that we need to redefine diversity, in inclusion, or I just don't think we need to, because I feel seeing what I see in your schools, it's there, it's on the walls, it's in the classrooms, it's with the students. I'm not saying that bullying doesn't happen, and I don't typically work in the high school, so I see the younger kids. So fortunately, I don't see a whole lot of that. And there's incidents that come up, we have great staff. The principals are amazing. I just can't say enough about having the opportunity to work within the district and really seeing the positive outcomes of having DEI. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Mary Gannon, your hand is up.
Hi, everyone can hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. There's been a lot happening in the last few days.
Erin, could you state your name and your town?
Yes, my name is Mary Gannon, and I live across the river in Winchester, New Hampshire. But I have been very engaged with Brattleboro education and other efforts in the community for a long time. A couple thoughts about it, and I appreciate the board taking time for this tonight and, allowing for a range of different perspectives. I just came back from Montgomery, Alabama, where I had the privilege and honor of visiting the Equal Justice Initiative museums and sites and being part of a lecture series. And one of my many takeaways from that experience was the reminder that we all need to keep remembering that history reminds us of why we are where we are today. And if you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. And one of the ways that Brian Stevenson constructs the Legacy Museum is he talks about these different stages of our history, from enslavement all the way to incarceration of Black African peoples who were kidnapped essentially from the continent. And so I say that because I think when we look where we are at this moment and we hear the struggle in the debate around why diversity, equity, inclusion efforts are so important, is that we know that this country has been built on the foundations of structural and systemic racism. And we know that our students are still directly impacted by the increased level of and the ongoing presence of hazing, harassment, and bullying based particularly on identity. And of course, that includes kids of color, kids who identify as gender different or non-binary, kids who come from poverty, kids who identify as LGBTQ. And what I want to say to folks who are questioning why these initiatives are essential is those of us who have been working across the state to ensure that our kids feel safe and welcoming are protected by the civil rights laws that we have encoded in our country, that the efforts around diversity, equity, inclusion, the initiatives that diversity, equity, inclusion coordinators bring into our districts are essential to the well-being and safety of our children and our students who don't necessarily identify in the groups where there has been historically privilege. And so I talk about white students or students with disabilities, et cetera. With students who are able-bodied. So it's been a long day. But at any rate, I just think that to remember that we are not doing these initiatives, or these initiatives are not embedded in our school districts to create division. What we know is that the country has already been divided since 1510. And what we are trying to do is figure out how to create a more perfect union by bringing opportunities and efforts into our schools that will make sure that the kids who have not typically been included or have felt safe will be able to do so. And we will continue to do that. We will continue to do that in the state of Vermont, regardless of what the current federal administration hands down to us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Matt Shibley.
Thank you. Matt Shibley, parliamentary inquiry. Seeing that there can be no action on this topic tonight, knowing that this will be brought up with the proper notice at the SU, is it permissible for us to request the board chair schedule a special meeting so that we can, if it be the board's will, create an agenda under a special meeting and create action on this topic?
Thank you for bringing that up. I was waiting for that. Yes, of course, that is possible. That is the will of the board, if it is the will of the board, to move in that direction. Ruby McAdoo.
This kind of speaks to this point. What's in my mind is that, I have seen since Friday an immense activation in our community. And in part that's because of the urgency around the timing of the request and the requirement for certification. So it feels like, as much as I agree with that sentiment, I mean, action needs to happen by like Thursday. And so I think really what, to go back to what Ann has said, that it is on the SU agenda tomorrow is really critically important. And I was very happy to see that. I have been trying to put my ear to the ground and keep track of things, and I jumped on a call with a number of people statewide to understand what was happening and what was going on, and I asked questions of people, and my understanding, and I think this aligns with other people on the board, is that the original request was that the superintendent sign the certification, and the SU board supervises the superintendent, and so the SU board is who would be if we were to direct the superintendent to do something or not do something, it would be the SU board that would do that. So it feels like that, I appreciate that we are talking about it in this space. I think it's important. We, as the school district, are very invested in the SU, but we only have 4 members from this board who are on that board. And so I think it is important that we have this conversation here, but I think the most important actionable moments are tomorrow at the SU board meeting. And all of that being said, the ground really is moving underneath our feet. At this point, in this very, very moment, the superintendent is no longer being asked to sign any certification. And so I completely agree with many of the things that I'm hearing here. I don't know, I am not satisfied. And I am so happy with our community pushing back. I mean, we are pushing back. All over the place we're pushing back. We're very activated, but I feel very strongly, especially having been on calls with people in other parts of the state, in our district, we have an immense amount of alignment between the superintendent, teachers, parents, community members. Does that mean we all agree? No. But for sure, I feel happy that we are hearing each other and communicating. What I would think would be helpful for me is to hear from teachers and from people who are in the schools. I think that's having those voices is helpful. I'm a parent, I'm on the school board. I know my own echo chamber, but sometimes I don't hear as much from teachers directly. And the last thing I'll say is that my strong hope as a board member is that the V.S.A, particularly the Vermont School Board Association, really put themselves in an advocacy position and push back for us. That's something that I think that they really should be doing. I think they are doing it, I think the reason that we saw movement and a shift and that walk back was because of advocacy from the V.S.A, from the Vermont Superintendents Association, and a number of others. So I think if we continue to do that, that's good. But in order to have real clarity around how satisfied could we or are we with this current development of a statewide certification, I do think hearing from how do our teachers, how do our administrators feel would be helpful.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Without doubt, the action or potential action or motion of tomorrow evening at the SU level is critical. I do appreciate Matt Shibley's suggestion, and the reason this board would meet in a special session, perhaps later this week, without concern about that date, but it would be an act of solidarity. So, and a statement coming from this board. So I think that is on the table and is important. Jessica Everlith.
I just want to say too, I think we've heard some things about how the governor maybe does not understand the DEI practices and what we're doing, but I make no mistake, he understands, and Zoe Saunders understands what they're doing. This feels a lot like a page out of the Trump playbook, and yeah, just sign it, no big deal, you can still do what you're gonna do, and the repercussions will come after. And I don't want to be placated, and I think as a board, for a special meeting, I think, yes, stand in solidarity and speak out about what we believe. I think we also need to I think we need to think of some action plans should this get signed. What will we do as a district to support the kids who are going to be impacted by this and the teachers and families who are going to be impacted by this? And so I would like to see, you know, whether the special meeting happens before the deadline to sign the certification or not, I would like to see some action planning around what we can legally do to move forward in a way that we believe and affirm as a district is the right thing to do.
Thank you. Matt Shibley.
Yeah, so seeing that it is within our right to make that motion for a special meeting, and in knowing that ultimately it is an SU decision to be directly supervising Mark, I would like to make a motion before the board that we request there be a special meeting this week on Thursday.
I'll second that.
Okay, so there is a motion for a special meeting this Thursday, and it has been seconded. Discussion. Okay, Anna Oliver.
Anna Oliver from Putney. I just want to say that I think, you know, it can be, we can get into the weeds with what exactly is being taught in the schools and what exactly does DEI mean and those kinds of things. But I think the broader problem is that the state is being asked to agree that we will not do something that is undefined and that will be defined at some point by the Trump administration. And that is not an okay place to be. And so I think, you know, as much as we can get to that problem, I think that is the root of it. And I also think that every child in the school would be impacted by this change. Yeah.
Yes.
I also want to address I'm sorry.
Yes,
my name is Carolyn Oliver, and I've been on the Leadership Council at Putney Central.
Yes.
I want to address the sense that many people have that DEI is a curriculum that you sit down with kids and teach. And from just being in this supervisory district in elementary schools at least. I haven't spent much time in the middle and high school, but DEI is an attitude, and it's a way of thinking. And I guess I just see all the time where problems emerge and people think about solving problems in different ways, which is to preserve the health of each child who may be in a conflict with another child. But DEI is not a curriculum. It's not a system of teaching people to be aggrieved. It's a way of being inclusive. Kids in Putney, where I spend most of my time, I see the inclusiveness that's encouraged. And I mean, I experience kids, and I interview them a lot for various different kinds of newspaper articles. They get it. They understand the idea that we can see each other as valuable members. And I guess I just want to emphasize that DEI is not a curriculum.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. I think it does come from the core of the human being, and it's how we view life and how we view other people around us and how we look at men and women and how we treat each other and that we listen to each other and we include each other in conversations. I feel very passionately about that. Thank you. Okay, there is a motion before the board, and community members have hands up, so I am going to call on Michelle Green. You have to.
She went away. I lost her.
I have her on my screen. You, okay, Michelle Green, she's back. You have her? Okay.
There she is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Michelle.
Okay, you are unmuted, Michelle.
Thanks, guys. I just wanted to, just as a little FYI, the deadline that was Thursday was just for the districts the SUs to sign, and the actual deadline for our Secretary of Education is Monday, April 14th. So there is certainly time for more advocacy. I'm very grateful that you're going to have another meeting. I hope that you'll sign on to the letter. I hope that you will think about what you can do as a board to support our education, our educators in leadership, and to demand that our Secretary of Education work with them and that there's collaboration on this. And I'll come to that next meeting. I'm really excited that you guys are going to now have the opportunity to really work on this. I know you're all really passionate about it. So we have time. Thank you.
I really, Michelle, thank you. I really do appreciate, I think we all do appreciate, the entire district appreciates the advocacy, the energy that exists in our community, in our 4 towns, in the leadership councils. There is a lot of communication taking place. Ruby.
It speaks directly to the motion.
Yes.
I think that this is, I appreciate the motion. I think it's a good motion. I'm in support of this motion. But I won't be able to make it on Thursday evening. But I would support, regardless of whether or not I can personally be there, I would support the board doing this.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, I know that there's a motion and we're not speaking directly to the motion at this point, but there is a lot of energy going on. So I'm going to call on Mary Gannon. And then I think we need to pull back and deal with this motion very directly. But Mary?
Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate it. I don't mean to take up a lot of time. I'll be quick. What I would say to you all, because I just got a text from a House representative from Montpelier, who's letting me know that apparently this is how quickly things are moving. So I think it's important that the board is also getting direct information from the V.S.A. That apparently the Vermont NEA pressed pretty hard on Saunders this afternoon, and now she is saying that she's assuring the NEA and other orgs and the public that she will write a letter that is similar to the model of the New York letter. So again, I know this is what is just wild about the roller coaster. And my point being that even for whatever happens, if she does that, we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. For those of us who have been in this state for a long time doing this work, and I'm going to shout out my dear friend and colleague, Curtis Reed, Michaela Sims. I know Michelle has been, there's other folks, Liz Adams. This state has struggled around how to bring this conversation to public education for a very long time. So what I want to say to you is, even if Saunders says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to, because it's politically good for me, I'm going to go ahead and write the letter out of the same model as Maine, Massachusetts, and New York, we still need to keep pushing because we still have EQS. We have other issues in front of us that we have mandates that are not funded, and we just have to keep pushing. So onward, and I just wanted to give you that update from Montpelier from 5 minutes ago.
Thank you. I cannot excuse this as a rookie mistake. This is not a mistake. This is not a mistake. And it's not okay. And it has, certainly, as a community member, as a board member, it has me concerned about what's next. So we really do have to be very watchful about what's going on. I did say I was going to pull this back to the board to follow through on this motion. So Liz, I see your hand up, but I'm going to ask you to wait just a few minutes. Are we ready to bring this to a vote? Okay, any comment? We're ready to bring it to a vote. Okay.
One comment. Do you want to specify a time?
We're gonna pull it together, yeah. So the motion is for a special meeting on Thursday, April 10, and I just need to make an announcement. I will miss the Dummerston Leadership Council meeting at that time. So, Michelle, I'm sure you can hear me right now. Please know that I will be with the board on that evening. What time is good for us? Are we looking at 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Is that 6 o'clock? Okay, 6 p.m. And I'm assuming that we can meet at Cusick. I'm assuming.
I'm assuming that you can. I don't have the schedule with me.
Got it, but let's assume it's at Cusick for now. Okay, unless you hear differently. All right, so the motion, would you read it back, please?
That the WSESD had a special meeting on Thursday, April 10th at 6 p.m. at Cusick.
Okay. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. We will have a special meeting to take a look at this letter. Okay. Liz, your hand is up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes. Now
a lot of pushback.
Say it again, start again.
I think it's.
And state your name.
I think it's.
Your town,
okay, Liz Adams from Putney.
Yes.
I think it's also very important for pushback to our Attorney General, Charity Clark, is it?
Yeah.
That she needs to know the extent, and she needs to hear directly from.
Okay, you're breaking, Liz, you're breaking up. So we cannot hear you. Whoops, and we just. Okay. We are. We're just fine. Liz, we cannot hear you. So I heard the beginning of what you're saying, that we need to take a strong stand and we do need to push back.
We are
Yes.
offline.
We are offline. Oh, proving. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Windy.
Elon did that.
All right.
Deborah?
Yes.
Might I propose that we take a 5-minute?
Yes, this is perfect for a 5-minute break. Thank you very much. We are going to take a 5-minute break. It's 7:15. It's 7:15. We will come back at 7:20. Oh, all right. We are moving on. It's 7:20 something or the other.
We should note to everyone in Zoom land that we lost power here at the school, and that is why we got kicked offline and Zoom stopped and everything, so.
Yeah, sorry, that's, yeah, we couldn't even communicate with you under those circumstances. All right, we are moving through our agenda at this point. Leadership Council updates.
I think a lot are meeting on Thursday.
Yeah, now I have some updates from Dummerston, from their Leadership Council meeting. And on February 27th, given what we're talking about, it's everything that we do in the school is about DEI at its core, without having to label it as such. So, February 27th, Dummerston had a family forum focused on LGBTQ+. About 50 people were in attendance. The richness of the conversation and the information we gleaned from this experience was invaluable. We had so many families and staff in attendance, which was appreciated and noted by all. And at the last Dummerston Leadership Council meeting, there's every indication that this will be, there'll be follow-up meetings. So there was a discussion about next steps for this goal-oriented work related to LGBTQ inclusion, forming a family glow group, monthly potlucks, and time for children to play. Developing updated curriculum for early grades that provides more explicit introduction to inclusive language. Crafting a letter to articulate our commitment to fostering a safe and inclusive learning environment for all students and families, as well as reaching out to other leadership councils to connect around how we are supporting families and students across the district during this time. So that's the message from the Dummerston Leadership Council. Anyone else for Leadership Council updates? Tim Maceo.
I have to say that BAM's Leadership Council last week had one of the most engaging, richest conversations I've had with the Leadership Council yet. Matt, I'm sorry you missed it. But it was, it started off, Keith introduced CIP data inventory. And he had us engage in an activity, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this, the 5 whys, where you state a problem, you say why, and then they come up with the reason why. You know, so I think one of the members said, why is there chronic absenteeism? Well, because students are not interested in class. Why? It was a really great discussion. But so I was thinking about it the next day, and what I realized is why BAM's Leadership Council is so good is because we have parents who are also staff members. Two of the parents are also staff members in the academy. And it just emphasized to me how we really have to work harder to get not just parents, but staff people attending LCs. And then if we can come up with a lot of reasons why not. They're tired after work. You know, they're either after working all day, who wants to go to an LC. But these staff members do, and they really enrich our discussions. So, what?
No, because I'm thinking, when you say needing to get more staff people in, and I really do appreciate that, but I need to commend Dummerston and their leadership council meetings.
We have staff there too.
Oh, lots of staff are present. Yeah, lots of staff, and it's very active, proactive LC. So that's why I was smiling. Yeah, right, yeah. Any other leadership council updates? All right, we are moving on to board subcommittees, and I just need to make an announcement. The policy meeting of tomorrow at 2 p.m. has been canceled. I sent out an email already, but we do not have a quorum at that meeting. I know that sitting here right now. So the next meeting will be whatever it is, April 23rd, something like that. April 23rd, yes, at 2 p.m. All right, any other committee updates? Jessica.
The Communications Council met yesterday, I think. It was like a week ago, but we met yesterday and we discussed some avenues for further amplifying the work that we do as a board and to get more community engagement. So we were thinking as a group to propose that the board release a press release sharing our involvement with the Rural School Community Alliance and that we donated to their fundraising effort to hire a lobbyist, since that is a big move that we made to do that, and so we were hoping that we could draft that and send that out with board approval. And then to kind of further that as well, we discussed the possibility of having an event and inviting the Rural School Community Alliance to kind of share about their work and help inform and orient the community about where to find information about the various proposals that are coming out for education reform in the state. And also to kind of gather data from our community of what's important to them about schools, so that we can kind of be more directive and organized around sharing with our legislators what we want to see rather than what we don't want to see, and what's important to us and priorities to us as a district.
That sounds great. Good. So I think the board would very much welcome a draft of a press release. And yeah, thank you. Ruby?
So a question we had, because we talked about what it might look like what the Communication Council does and can and cannot do. Our hope is that we could get approval for moving forward and would share the press release, but rather get approval at this point in time to move forward with it. And but it sounds like maybe what you're thinking is that the Communication Council would present a draft that draft language would be approved. So at this point, it doesn't matter either way. It's just that we would like to move as quickly as possible, because this is, actually referring to action that's happened a month ago. It's happened quite some time ago. So it's really just trying to be as reflective of what's happening as quickly as possible.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how the board is going to feel about giving approval to a press release that we have not seen at all. We haven't seen it. And I appreciate that we don't want to wordsmith it. We want to look at a press release, we want to say, yes, it's good, let's go with it.
I think I hear your concern, because we want to know what we're saying publicly. I think what we would really rely on heavily for the press release is language that already exists from the Rural School Community Alliance, things that happened in the meeting that are documented in meeting minutes. So I don't think that the press release would have any kind of new information. It would just be kind of a concentrated message to the community, so it's easy to pick out rather than having to go through and watch.
Well, that's certainly a new approach for the board, because in the past, anything that has been disseminated, we've seen and agreed to as a body. And so I don't know that I'm open to comment and from board members on this. I'm certainly speaking from my position as a board member. Yeah. So, Matt.
So I'm also on the Communications Council, however, as a board member. I think as long as we're staying factually based, things that are in the minutes, and we're stating things that are already represented from the Rural School Alliance, I see no problem in authorizing the Communications Council to draft something with guidance that they stay factually based.
Kim, we do have a special meeting on Thursday.
That's where I was going. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I would hate, I'm cautious, and I would hate to see something in print where some of us say, oh gee, if only, like, wow, that has created a little bit of a kerfuffle in the community because of the juxtaposition of something. So we do have a special meeting on Thursday. If you can pull something together quickly, that would be great.
So that would mean on that agenda, that would be an actionable item.
Yes.
I think that we can do that because what we were envisioning was really, pulling what exists. Yeah. So
got it. I have it down as an agenda item. Press release, RSCA. Okay. Right.
Michelle Green says her hand is up.
Oh, Michelle Green. Good, because my screen keeps on disappearing. But anyway, there we go. Michelle. You are unmuted.
Okay. Yes, I was actually going to just say quickly, since I'm still a community member with the Communication Council, could we get a draft because there was the special meeting, but also just historically, the Communication Council has done press releases and shared it with the board, and only in the event that there's a person who takes issue, they would report it back and just say, I want this for discussion. And otherwise it's approved unless there's any request for discussion. And then that's how we've done it in the past when something was time sensitive.
So I have a question about procedure. When you say it's been approved by the board, has it been approved during a board meeting?
It was the task was given down to the Communication Council to oversee that work.
Yes.
And then they shoot it out to the board as a whole, so everyone's eyes have a chance to see it, and shy of anyone saying I'd like to take this up for discussion, then we went through and went ahead and did the work. And if someone did say I'd like to discuss this, then it got bounced back for that agenda.
Okay. So was that communication of the press release done via email?
The sharing the image, yes, was.
Yes. Okay. All right. And to get feedback from board members, and then and if anyone had an issue with it, then it would be on a board meeting. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's go for it. Tim.
Just to give you a little update on the Rural Schools Community Alliance. So much is happening so fast, and I know I've sent a lot of...
Can you hold off on that, please? Because that's going to come up on the agenda. It's on the agenda. I'm bouncing down.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about legislative issues.
Okay, it kind of touches on...
I'm sorry.
That's
Go ahead.
fine.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, but the steering committee decided to issue a summary of what's happening every Monday, even though so much happens on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And today, I heard hours ago, two of our members, Jeannie Albert and Margaret McLean, knocked it out of the park in the Senate Education Committee. They were really heard. So good things are happening, but instead of sending so many emails, I'll just send one from the steering committee every Monday.
Great, thank you. Anything else from subcommittees of the board? Yes.
Point of information. Do
Yes.
you want me to report out on the goals group now, or?
It's on the agenda. Let me just bounce
Sorry.
down. Let me just move down.
I just wasn't sure if it
I'm
was
going to move
something-
down the agenda, okay? Any updates from the SU?
No, we haven't met since
We
last
haven't
time.
met, got it, okay. I have down on the agenda an update on legislative issues related to potential education reform. See, it's right here, it's letter C on the agenda. So, okay, so I'm going to say regarding that, there is so much, I've gotten an email, a couple of emails from board members. There is so much going on statewide at this point. Would we like a couple of board members to tackle this and sort of like hold on to those issues so that as we meet twice a month, we can get a quick summary so that we're not losing track of issues. And I would think it has to do with issues like Title VI, has to do with education reform, has to do with something else. Don't know what it is right now. So, the V.S.A, I must say, the Vermont School Board Association, in their weekly updates, they're doing more than weekly updates. They're coming in hot and heavy with statements about what's going on, and it's helpful. It's very helpful. The links are there. We could spend all day going through it. So there is that. Do we want to do more than that? Tim has been incredibly helpful in providing the board with up-to-date information with what's going on with your emails as well as in board meetings. So, thank you so much, Tim. Does someone else want to take it on? It's sort of good to have two eyes on these issues.
I can try and help.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay.
Deborah,
Yes.
may I speak while you're ready?
Oh, yes.
I think that I just wanted to second my appreciation, Tim, for helping to kind of share information, because I am feeling overwhelmed. Like there's a lot, and so I find it helpful to even though we have aligned ourselves with and put ourselves on the RSCA, even like that's not all we should be doing. And so from my perspective, I'm really grateful, Jocelyn, for you stepping forward, because I can't. I just can't do it. And but I think it's really valuable, and I think that there's value to having multiple sets of ears and eyes. Sometimes that will mean hearing the exact same information and helping to share what they're hearing, and other times there's actually a lot going on with lots of different groups in the state. And so as you're going about your work and hearing things, if you hear something new, it might be that you want to follow some breadcrumbs that we've never followed before.
Right.
So I think that's the value of this action. And I also think that my hope would be that essentially for at least the foreseeable future, this be a relatively standing agenda item. That we are expected to be talking about it in meeting, at least for the foreseeable future.
Got it. Yes. Okay. I'm going to push this, yes.
Well, just, it's in statute that one of the responsibilities of the board is to update the community on legislative matters. So this is completely within our bailiwick.
Okay, great. I am looking at the time. We've been here since 5 o'clock. And the next issue on the agenda is to consider the annual review as per the WSESD ongoing social justice and anti-racist commitment. I would like to ask for a couple of volunteers to take a look at this statement and to work with Michaela Sims in assessing the statement and an annual review. We cannot do it this evening. It's just, we will be here until 10 o'clock at night. So I've already reached out to Michaela Sims about this. So I see Jocelyn.
Matt and I, since we're going to be doing the social justice committee, we can take that on.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know where to find it?
Do I know where to find
It's
that?
actually linked on the agenda right now. It is linked. And yes, I mean, when you go to, you can find it, can't you? Yeah, okay, right. Okay, I'm just a quick note. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm moving on. That will come up at a future board meeting when they are ready. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, just related to that note, wanted the board to know that Michaela Sims and I have been visiting all of our schools for staff meetings. First 5 minutes of staff meetings, and we've been sharing our commitment to social justice, the board's commitment to social justice. And this evening we were in Guilford and Vernon, both of those staff meetings. We presented to Wood Green Street and Oak Grove. After the break, we'll be finishing up at Emerson Putney, BAMS, BUHS, and the Career Center. What I can share for you in terms of hearing back from teachers and educators, all of those meetings have been met with applause and appreciation. So.
Okay, it seems to me we cannot step away from DEI. It's ingrained in everything we do. Yeah, I just want to say that. It really is. All right, thank you.
Pretty sure that hand is Michaela.
Oh, Michaela, yes, thank you. Right.
Where did she go?
Okay. All right, we seem to have lost you, Michaela.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
I just want to thank the board and Mark for just your continued support in this work, and just want to say how essential it's been all the years that I've been working in the district. And yeah, it's just amazing, the outcry of support. And I look forward to working with whomever volunteered to look at our commitment. And I really feel like we're in this together. And I think that that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you. Yeah, and it's Matt Shibley and Jocelyn Fritz who will be joining forces with you. So, thank you. All right, and letter F is simply a reminder to board members that as per a motion, I think it was November of 23, board members are allocated $100 annually for relevant publications. Okay? All right, yes.
I'd like to make a motion there. So it was November 14th, 2023, that we agreed to $100 allotted to every board member, only for 4 specific publications, all related to teaching, like Ed Week, Edutopia, and so on. I'd like to make a motion to rescind that motion, and instead to allow board members to use that $100 for whatever they feel is relevant to board work. That could be a novel publication on gender issues, on racial issues, on pedagogy. But I think that we can trust every board member to spend their little $100 allotment wisely and not be restricted to the four publications that are in the policy.
All right, so there is a motion. There's
two motions.
Two motions. The first one is.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hearing from Zoom that they're muted. They're not able to
Okay.
hear.
Restricting board members for using the $100 for four publications.
All right, so there is a motion to rescind the motion of November 14, 2023, which restricted board members to 4 publications. Yes, Ruby.
Just a point of order. I question whether or not we need to rescind a previous motion. I think that it would be sufficient to motion a new action that is an update to what we've done in the past.
Okay, I looked that up in Roberts, but you can do it that way too.
I mean, I think rescinding it complicates matters because you're rescinding something that people have actually utilized, and so I think there's complications there. But I just don't know that this is a serious enough issue to undo things. There was no harm done, and no need to rescind.
Okay, so what are we talking about right now?
So I rescind the motion, the first motion, and make a second motion to amend the policy allowing board members to use their $100 on whatever they deem as relevant to board members.
All right, so it's a motion to amend the original motion of November 23rd,
Right.
2023. So we're looking to amend the motion of November 14, 2023, to allow board members to use the allocated $100 annually as they deem appropriate for their work on the board. Yes, Matt.
I'm in support of Tim's motion, and I would encourage the board to consider that the board member, within their prerogative of the use of that $100, make some sort of demonstrative effort to show how it benefits the board, whether that's some sort of report or comment made at a board meeting. I think the board member should demonstrate the utility in some regard.
Okay, I appreciate we're going back and forth. I think it's an interesting proposition. I don't know whether we want to continue with this evening or put it on hold for the next meeting. I don't know how much more discussion is going to take place. Tim?
No discussion.
No discussion, okay, all right. So the motion has been amended to ask board members to present some aspect of what they have read. Okay, yes.
I'm not opposed to this motion per se, but I just wonder about what expectations we put in place for our staff around these types of expenditures. And I wouldn't feel comfortable giving ourselves tons of leeway if we put lots of restrictions on our staff.
On other people, yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the only concern I have. I also venture a guess that very few of us as board members have actually taken advantage of this. So I do think that there's some benefit to opening up or changing, making this amendment and changing things. I just wonder if this is a step, too far in terms of,
Okay, all right. I am going to say as board chair right now, I'm looking at the time, it's 10 to 8, and we still have 2 executive sessions at the end of this evening. So this is open for discussion. And I would like to put this on hold for the next meeting. It does not have to be decided this evening. So as I look to move it forward to say, oh, we're ready to vote, there is more discussion. So if I have board approval, I'd like to delay this until the next meeting and just have all the iterations of it come together. I don't see nods.
Point of order, I think
Yes.
we need a motion to stay. I think we need a vote to stay the motion.
I see, okay.
Because there's a motion that's
I
been
see,
brought.
there is a motion on the
Parliamentary
table.
inquiry.
Oh, got it.
The
Okay.
motion wasn't seconded, was it?
The motion was not
No.
seconded.
Oh, indeed.
It was not seconded, so it's not on the table. We asked for a second with motions. Is that correct? Yes. So there is no motion. It can be withdrawn at this point. Would you be willing to withdraw it
Yeah.
and delay it for next time?
Sure.
Okay, on hold. Thank you. All right. The last item under board matters is board goals. It was a subcommittee, not a subcommittee, let's call it a task force of Jessica, Ruby, Kim, and Tim. And it was talking about board goals in terms of agenda setting. Okay, that came up at the last board meeting, I do believe, 2 weeks ago. So, any feedback on that?
So we met last week and discussed kind of the path forward of how we could envision having these goals. And the 3 takeaways we had was that we think the board still needs some alignment around the reason for goals outside of the district goals. So we're thinking perhaps revisiting some research that's already been done into other school board goals from other districts around the state. 2 that came up are Rutland and Addison. And there may be more that we visited at a prior meeting, prior to my time. Retreat. Thank you. And then the kind of other 2 takeaways, so that's one, and then the other 2 takeaways that we have is that we as a board would like to be more involved with the CIP goal setting with the district administrators. Perhaps maybe that's a subcommittee or work group that works with the administration prior to the June retreat that has historically happened. And then we kind of envision that those board goals will be born out of those 2 different initiatives so that they're supporting the district goals, that we have involvement in those goals, and we have alignment with the administration. Not to say that we're not aligning with the current goals, but we'd like more input in that. And then creating our own goals.
Okay, all right, thank you. So at this point, will you be reaching out to other boards?
Yeah, that's the.
Is that where it stands right now?
I mean, we talked about, I mean, I think that's a question that I think we had was around the task force that came together. You know, how long that is in effect is a question, you know, so to some degree, I think we as a group came together and that could be a one-off meeting to discuss and focus the conversation at the board level. But the indication of like, you know, or the recommendation to look into what's going on and how do other boards, you know, and districts organize their goals for their governance structure. That could be this group, or it could be a different action or a different action. I mean, the work that when we were discussing it came out of a retreat last year, I think. And so it was really just referring back to how helpful that moment was of looking at other districts and the documentation that they provided. So I didn't necessarily see the task force as being some ongoing thing, you know, but if that's the will of the board, then I think it needs to be articulated.
Okay, all right. Comment? So it seems to me, what I'm hearing that has come out of this discussion is reinforcing board participation in CIP goal setting, right?
That is
Yes, I mean, that's critical. And so upping the ante from what we did last year, we were involved last year. And then I hear this essential question: in what way are board goals distinct from district goals? Am I correct in wording it that way? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
right, okay. And it seems to me the district goals are coming out of the CIP goal setting process.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that and
Okay.
looking at other districts, which that work has already kind of been done. I think we have to revisit,
Okay.
and we need to know where to find that documentation. I don't know that I have access to that.
Okay. So, do we let it rest for the moment? And so, Tim,
No, I don't, let what rest?
I don't know. I don't know what the next step is.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. So does it rest for the moment with the understanding that the board is actively involved in the continuous improvement planning process as we head to June?
well, we have three choices: either the full board discusses goals, or they be a task force
Okay.
or we set up a committee.
Okay.
I don't know. I will say that one of the quality education standards that a board is measured by is how well we set goals.
Okay. Ruby.
Could we ask Mark to speak to what the CIP planning process is in terms of what the feedback loop is that is currently in place? Is that possible?
Yeah. Yes. Again, this is a very long discussion coming up, and I am, again, concerned about time tonight. It's 8 o'clock, and we've been here for 3 hours. So we're 3 hours in. So we're gonna hold this if you don't mind, okay? Because this is a long discussion. Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that for clarity, board goals and CIP goals are two different things. I think we are all very aligned as a board about what our tasks in front of us right now are. I would encourage the board to consider board goals as a thing we put aside for the moment. That is not to say that we should not be intimately involved with Mark around the CIP goals for the district. I think those are two separate things.
And I think that's the timely piece of it, is knowing like what that process is and how to be more involved. So that's all that I would ask, is that we kind of figure that out tonight or at the next meeting. Because I know that work is probably happening now if it's ready in June.
Okay, so we're talking about the process of CIP goal setting, is that right? Yeah, I'm gonna put that on the agenda for the next meeting, okay? Next meeting, okay. We are moving on to administrative report. Hires, resignations, retirements.
Okay, let's start with two resignations. Zach Ezel from BUHS and Sarah Landers from Guilford.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the two resignations of Zach Ezel and Sarah Landers?
So moved with regret.
Seconded.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
All right, we have a retirement of Catherine Mason from Oak Grove School.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the retirement of Catherine Mason with regret?
Motion with regret.
I'm sorry?
A motion with regret.
With regret, got it.
Second.
We got a second. Discussion, all those in favor? I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
No.
Having known of the great work that Catherine Mason has done, I just want to say that those are incredibly large shoes to fill, and I wish her the best in her journey ahead.
Okay, lovely. All right.
Okay, I have 5.
Wait 1 second. We have yet to vote. We have to vote. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
Okay, so we have 5 new hires. Jonah Lewis, BUHS Math. Logan Snow, Dummerston, grade 3. Sarah Landers, BUHS Academic Support. Luke McCullough, Dummerston, grade 4. And Sean McLaughlin, BUHS Technology.
All right. Is there a motion to accept these 5 new hires?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor?
One note, I'm sorry that Julianne is not here, but all the application letters are great. But if you want to read the teacher who loves his work and who loves teaching at Dummerston, read Lucas's application. This is a person who's been a full-time sub for the last year. A fantastic letter. The second thing is I was astounded by, they had 21 applications for that position. I'd like to know what's happening with why you got so many. It's great.
Okay, thank you. All those, any more discussion on these 5 new hires? All those in favor of these 5 new wonderful employees, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, carried. Thank you. Mark, you can.
I can be quick.
This is not meant for you to be quick. It's just we are yes.
No, I know. It's
Yes.
all meant.
Yes.
I know Hannah is with us. I'll skip NEASC real quick and just go to update on Act 1, which is Erin's law training, district-wide training, mandated training. And that training took place this August and September at every school site. I will note on our website under reports to the board, there's specific training materials that I've referred to at previous board meetings, and they're dated Act 1 training and abuse prevention, January 23rd, 2024, so as a frame of reference. And then also we have presented this in the past at the board meeting around HHB, professional development. Again, another report to the board was given on March 13, 2024. So those are just simple one-click resources that you can, that available to the community and of course us to check in on as resources. In terms of student comments from Panorama Survey, Tracy Drotz has worked on organizing those comments for us. We got some great advice from Matt Shibley around how to use AI to do that as well. So I have sent some materials to Deborah right at the end of the workday to distribute, so we can, that'll be shared with all board members in the coming weeks. That brings us to an update on NEASC. And if Hannah's still with us, I've asked her to give us an update as the principal of the high school who's leading this process with her teams.
Okay, well, apparently I'm going to have the face of my husband because it's not letting me show video. It looks like it's blocked.
In case you're a Zoom bomber, Hannah,
Oh, okay. Well, I am not, but
I don't have the option to put some people in that.
totally fine. I'll just be the guy with the bow tie. So yeah, we have been working hard this year on meeting the priority areas that NEASC left us with last year. They left us with 4 priority areas, one of which was encouraging student capacity for academic and social resilience. And so we, this past summer, changed our advisory system around and had started off this year with brand new advisories, themed advisories, meeting for 10 minutes every morning. And that has been going really well. We also, priority area number 2 was around the vision of the graduate, which obviously we all know we've been working on that as a district, and I believe that presentation is coming up in the near future. The third priority area was to develop written curriculum for all classes, and so that has been kind of our biggest hurdle, which we've been working on during a lot of in-service time, and I think we are very close to having a written curriculum for every class that's offered at BUHS, which is incredible. And the last one was providing time, resources, and structures for educators to engage in ongoing reflection. So common planning time was something that was new this year. So this is the first year that our core department has had common planning time for the entire school year, and we're looking at adding a couple more departments next year. Any questions?
That report accessible to us?
I'm sorry?
Is the report accessible to the board?
Yep.
Where is it?
I need to find, I know it's posted somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I can find out and send it to you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, any questions for Hannah? All right, thank you very much, Hannah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I just confirm, Mark, you said that the student comments from Panorama you sent to me at the end of today?
Yeah.
Got it, okay, got it. I just want to make sure. All right. All right, so.
Probably on the road. You were probably on the road.
Yeah, no, that's great. I will pass that along to the board. All right, we are up to fiscal report.
I have a brief report. We didn't meet this month as a finance committee, but I'm sure we'll have a date, and maybe next meeting it would be a finance committee report, but I'll just be really brief. So we do have a year-to-date statement. It's on the website if anyone wants to look at it. That is our routine for both the SU and the SD. We always post fiscal year to date quarter ends on the website. So whether we have a meeting or not, if anybody's interested in fiscal status, you can always check that. It's under the SU finance and then the relevant district. So we received 3/4 of our $65 million budget year to date. And of course, we only have a quarter left, so that aligns pretty well, and it keeps our cash flow healthy to meet payroll and all the other obligations. On the spending side, we have obligated all but about 4% of our $67 million expenditure budget. Remember, we are planning on utilizing reserves and fund balance. That's why those two numbers aren't the same, 65 versus 67. And some of the large single items that are notable, we're nearly fully implemented the $9.9 million capital budget, along with all of our maintenance expenses that help support all of these schools that we're enjoying right now. Overall, we don't see any storm clouds on the horizon for closing up the fiscal year, so I think we will remain on plan and in good fiscal standing as we wrap up fiscal year 25 and get ready for the new year right around the corner. So there's a brief report. Any questions?
Jessica.
Does the fiscal year run as the school year?
No, it ends June 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Frank.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. With the minutes amended, as stated earlier, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a second. Any discussion?
They're already updated on the website, just so you know. The website has the reflected amended minutes on it.
Okay, great, thank you. Wow, that's fast. Thank you. And any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is unfinished business. I think we're going to move on. We've got new business. I've got a lot of notes about what is on the next agenda at this point, and we are ready to move into executive session. Is there a motion to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Is there a motion to move into executive session under 1 V.S.A. 313A 1B? Labor relations agreements with employees.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are inviting in Mark Spino, and action is anticipated, and Frank Record. We are inviting in Mark Spino, Frank Record, with action anticipated. We have returned from executive session. Thank you, everyone, for your service. Is there a motion to ratify the contract for certified employees as negotiated?
So moved. Seconded.
Okay, thank you. And any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. That motion has carried. All right, we are now ready to go into the final executive session of the evening. Is there a motion to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, is there a motion to enter into executive session under 1 V.S.A. 313A 7, academic records or suspension or discipline of students?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Will there be action?
I anticipate action. I do anticipate action. Have returned from executive session. Is there a motion to uphold the recommendation of administration?
So moved. Second.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you very much. I do think we have concluded the business of this evening.
Madam Chair, there being no further business before this board, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned at 8:52 tonight. Thank you very much.